Good morning, YouTube. Thank you for tuning back into the channel, Guitar RX. Today, we are going to go through all the steps to wire a Stratocaster. Basically, we have our scratch card, our pickups, our volume, our two tones, and our 5-way switch. And we're going to go through step by step of how to wire this up, how to make this work, and hopefully I'll take away any of the mysteries you all might have in doing it. First off, let's get going with some of the basic connections. First thing, let me put on my glasses. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to ground our volume pot, because that's just what I'm going to do first. Okay, what I like to do is I'll take a piece of wire. I like to use stiff wire for my grounds. It gives a better connection. And we'll just kind of put that back for a second. Tin our soldering iron. We're going to go to our pot and put in our first ground. And I like to run as many of the ground wires as I can to the side of the pot, because it looks a lot better than having solder all over the top of the pots. Plus, when you solder correctly, you don't really use much solder. You basically sweat the solder in. So I'm going to hold that right there. I'm going to heat up the body of the pot. I'm going to drip just enough solder that we need, just like that. And a little bit more. And there we go with that. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to cut off this excess leg because we don't need this here. It's real hot out here today. It's like a balmy 80-something degrees out in the yard. But I'm choosing to do it out here because the lighting is a lot better, and it just flew. So here you go. I'll cut this end off the tip right here. And as you can see, we have a nice ground connection to our volume pot. Now, if this guitar was left-handed, we would ground this leg to the pot instead of that leg. Basically, what this does is when you roll one side off of the pot, it bleeds everything to the ground, which makes the pot stop working. It shuts the pot off, makes it silent. Anyways, let's go to our next connection. Our next connection, what we're going to do is we're going to put our tone capacitor between our two tones. And if our camera guy just wants to come around back this way, they can probably get this a whole lot better. First off, I'm using an orange drop cap, and I love these capacitors. They're great. A lot of people do. But like I say, there's so many different capacitors out there. It's basically what you want, what you like. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this leg, which is the second leg of the cap. I'm going to pass it through the first pot leg right there. Then I'm going to come back through and I'm going to run it through the center leg, just like that. So basically, let me get this up out of the way, and I'm going to show you better once I get this in. I'll put the camera closer up so you can see what's going on. Okay. On a Strat, what they did in the old days is they basically ran one capacitor for both pots. We're going to do it old school. We're going to do it that way. Okay, first thing you want to do, the first leg, okay, you want to zoom in. The first leg of this capacitor, we're going to go to the body of the pot. That will ground out. So what I'm going to do is let me get my iron, a little solder, and we're going to do that right to the body. So here we go. Hold that back. This I will go to the back of the pot because that's just how to do this. We'll hold that down and boom. There you go. Nice silver bright solder connection, which is a nice solder joint. That's all you need. You don't want no big blob of gray solder everywhere. And basically, now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to solder the second leg off the capacitor to the first lug of this tone pot into the center lug of this tone pot. We're going to solder those two connections together. Anyways, let me get my solder, which I just had. Oh, here it is. And we're going to go right to that leg. Get a nice, good connection, just like that. Nice and shiny. I'll show you when I'm done. Now we're going to go into that, just like so. Nice, shiny tone connection. So put this away. And there you go. You got a nice, shiny connection. Very good solder joint. Another very good solder joint. So we're going to pull up these leftover legs, and we're going to clip these off right to the pot leg. like that. I always save these because, like I said, I use these actually for grounds, and they come in handy, so I always save my capacitor legs just for that. Anyways, we're going to get that off just like that. Now, basically our tone pot circuit is hooked up, so I'm going to bend it over just like that, because that's basically done, and there you go. That's hooked up. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start wiring up this switch. And what you got to do is we're going to take our hot wire to the switch, and what you do is you're going to go from your switch, it's going to go to the first leg of the pot right there. So you're going to come off your switch, you're going to go to that. Your center lug of your volume pot is going to go to your output jack. So your output jack is going to be soldered up to that. So first things first, on a Strat type switch, what you want to do is you want to tie left to right together. You got one side's going to be your pickup side, the other side's going to be your tone lug side. But you need to run power to both sides of the switch. So what Fender does and what you do is basically you're going to run a jumper from this side to this side. That's also going to connect to your first leg of the pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this wire here like this. So we got that just stripped. Then I'm going to go back in. I'm just going to do this for measurement purposes right now. Going to go back in, and we're going to strip the wire right about here. Okay, I stripped this wire, and we're going to wire up this switch to that pot. Basically, what I like to try to do, if I have a jumper that goes into a pot, I like to use one continuous wire, so we don't have to put multiple wires on each leg, because it just looks kind of cheesy, and if you could get away with not doing it, you may as well do that. Okay, first things first, I'm going to put the end of this to that lug of the switch right there. So we're going to get that in there like so. And let me get my solder and my iron. And let's clean that off real quick. And you got to be careful. Sometimes this likes to fall out like that. So let me get that in there better. See, I'll go like that. Just tuck it under. Okay. Heat it up. Just enough solder. Nice, good, shiny connection. Just like so. Now we're going to bring this wire over, and we're going to go to that first lug on the switch. Right there. Right, that one right there. And for that, I'm going to use my son. I'm going to hold the wire while he holds the solder, just to keep this thing on there, and we're going to do it that way. Anyways, hold on, Casey, let me heat this up. My hands are shaky, so I'm working at a funny angle. I'm sorry about that. All right, Casey, heat that up. Okay. Oops. Let me turn this now, and we're going to put a little bit more solder on there. Oh, hold on 1 second. God, this is hard. Sometimes you need 4 hands, people. Okay, and there we go. Nice shiny joint. Okay, thank you, Casey. That was good. Okay, so now we got this jumper put across both of these legs. I'm going to tuck this back just like that and kind of move that over that way. So as you see, we're connecting this side to that side via this jumper. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the other side of this. It's going to go to the first lug on our volume pot. So we're going to tuck that in, fold it over just a little bit. I'll probably cut the excess off when I'm done, and I'm going to solder that in real quick. So let's do that. There we go. Nice solder joint. Got that in real good. It's not going anywhere. And we're going to cut this excess off so it doesn't look terrible. Just like that. Okay. We now have our volume pot hooked up to our switch. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook the switch up to the 2 tone pots. And for that, I'm going to use 2 different color wires. We're going to use a red wire, and we are going to use a blue wire. Yeah, to keep them separate. Like so. Okay. So I'm going to go a blue wire to the back tone, and I'm going to go a red wire to the center tone. Okay, now with these, what a lot of people get freaked out about, a lot of people hook the tones up wrong. You're like, well, wait a minute, wouldn't that lug go to that tone pot and this lug go to that? No, not necessarily, because the way this lever switch works, basically when you flip the lever, your contact scrubs against different parts of the switch. So if the front of your switch is all the way this way to the back, then your contact is up to the front. So it's reverse, basically, of what you would think by looking at it straight up and down. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook up our first tone off this lug here, which will be our rear tone. So that being said, let me strip this wire and get back at it. Actually, I'm going to strip all these wires and get them ready, then we'll get right back to you. Okay, now we're back. Our wires are stripped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this blue wire to the back tone pot. So B for back. I know it's stupid, but I do things like that all the time. Anyways, we're going to wire to this lug of the switch, which would be our 1, 2, 3rd lug, which is going to go to the back tone. So we heat that up, drop some solder, and there we go. Nice solder joint. That's all in there. And we're going to go back to the first lug of this tone pot. So we got that first lug, got the wire through. And let me check the joints, see how we're doing. And I'm going to get a little bit more solder on there, but we're going to do it from straight up because we should be able to get that. Usually I like to tip the guard so it'll run, it'll flow in better, but we should be fine. Yep, there we go. So we got that wire in, all's well. So that we now have this tone hooked up. And now it's time to do the next one. So we're going to go to the back lug with the red wire to the second lug, the center lug of this tone pot. Just like that. So we're going on the back one, we're going there to the center lug on that pot right there. This lug we leave open. Okay, well, we solder that in. There we go, and also onto the switch, like this. Okay, so we now have our tone circuit wired in, and let me tuck these wires back. Just like so, get these out of the way, keep it nice and neat. Just like that. You want to keep your wiring as neat as you can. That's at least I try to do that. Now we're going to start wiring in pickups. Okay, we're going to start with our neck. Like I said, everything is reversed from how you think. That's forward, your blade's forward, and vice versa. Just like that. So we're going to go forward right there, which will be your neck position. So our neck pickup is actually going to go right here. And let me make sure I have enough wire. We're going to do a full, just strip the end of this one. You can always tie the wires up later, but I don't like to cut the pickup wires too short in case of later on someone wants to either use the pickup somewhere else, or, you know, a lot of times people are sticklers, they don't want short wires, plus you could run into trouble sometimes. So let's leave these long. They're not that long. So we're going to go to that lug of our switch right next to the jumper. So you got one, that's going to be your bridge. Obviously that's going to be your middle, and that's your neck pickup right there. So let's get that in. Okay, there we go. That's our neck pickup. Now we're going to wire our middle. Try to keep the white wires sort of together by length. This one, I'm actually going to just trim just a piece off it, try to keep the wires fairly even, so when I wire tie them at the end, they'll all basically look nice and neat. You won't have one wire sticking out or bunched up. So, okay. So now we're going to go to the, obviously, middle lug, middle pickup, just like so. Bend it over just a bit. Flatten that up against the leg, pull the leg up, and now we're ready to solder. Put a little bit more solder on this side. And there we go. Let that harden. Okay, now our middle lead is wired. Our middle pickup wire is in. And this is a reverse wound center pickup, so what that means is your current is flowing in reverse in this pickup when wired straight. Like a lot of times if it's not, you'll have to wire the ground for your hot and your hot for the ground, but these are all put together that way. So this came in a pickup set. I believe these are Lindy Fralins, and that's basically how it is. So anyways, now we're going to go our bridge, and let me kind of line it up for size. We're going to cut this right about there. And strip it down. Okay, now we're going to go to this first slug, which is our bridge side. Just like so. It's giving me our time. Okay, put that in there just like so, and we're going to solder that in. Turn this around. You can see more of what we're doing, and you can see more of what I'm doing. Okay, hold that there. Nice. Okay, that's it. Now all of our pickups are wired in, and basically we're gonna wire our pickup ground. We're gonna ground our pickups. But for now, I'm gonna take all three of these, and we're gonna kind of put them together, and I'm going to come back and wire tie these things for you, and then when we get back to the video, I'm going to have these wire tied. Allow me cleaning this up, and we'll get right back to you. Okay, now we're back. I got all the pickup hot wires anyway, got them all zip tied together and tucked away neatly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hook up the grounds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all three grounds together like this, pigtail them, and I'm going to ground them to the side of the pot. You could ground them to the top if you want, but like I say, I like to keep the tops of the pots neat, so it looks more professional. It doesn't look as messy. Anyways, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to have my son once again come on in and hold the solder, and let me turn this so way that the camera person can see what I'm doing. Could you see good there? Right there? Okay, Casey, let me heat this up real quick, that side of the pot. Now come on in, and we're going to hit the solder just like that. Go ahead, Casey, we're not melting yet. Keep going. It's a ground, you want to get this good. Okay. All right. Let me see if this is enough solder, which it is. Okay. I'm going to hit it just a little bit more. Casey, let's come back and just a little bit more back here. I just want to kind of tie all this together. Hold on, let me turn this the way I want. Okay, go ahead. Feel free just to nail it. Okay, there you go. Okay. There we go. And our grounds are all soldered to the side of the pot. And like I say, we're going to come back. Yeah, I could have probably tied all these together with one wire tie, but you know what? Not a big deal. I'm just going to come back and kind of bunch these grounds underneath here. I'll just kind of push them down. And probably just take one more wire tie in case you'd be so kind to get me one. And I'm going to put another wire tie right there. Kind of button this whole thing up. And that way when I slip it into the guitar, it should go in nice and easy with minimum moving wires around, which is what I like. So let's get this tie on. Zip tie, just put it to that end. which I'm sure you all know how to use one of these, but if you don't, this is how you do it. Bam. There you go, and we'll just cut that off right there. And bam, there you go. So now basically, we've got everything wired except for our jack. This is now pretty much completely wired. What we're going to do now is we're going to wire our jack, which I said before, this center lug of the volume pot is going to run our hot wire all the way out to the jack, and we're going to run a ground wire from one of the pots out to the jack. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a continuous one long ground. So I'm going to ground this together, that together, and this pot together, then out to the jack. This is conductive material, this tape on the pickguard. Basically, every metal piece that's touching this is grounded together. Like our switch is grounded to everything else via that tape. But I like to run just one more solid ground just for more assurance and to be safe. And of course, we're going to get a ground in from the bridge, which is going to go to one of the pots too. But anyways, let me get going. I'm going to strip the long wire, then we're going to get back to you, and I'm going to show you how to wire in the jack. We're back. We're now going to hook up the main ground wire that's going to go from that pot, and out to the jack. Okay, as you can see, I stripped that end, which is going there. I stripped out the center end, which is going there, and the back end, obviously, which is going there. So let's get going with this. Got Casey to help me again, and here we go. Let me get that out. All right, Keith, wood, just right there on the pot. Okay. Okay, that's our first wire in. We're gonna get a little bit more solder on there. I've kind of fell behind a bit, so let's go ahead, Case, if you would. All right, now never mind. I think we got it just fine. I had to let that flow out. All right, tip that down just a little bit. We're going to go. I'm gonna move this. Now you hold it where I move it to. Here, let go of the picker, please. Okay, right there would be great. And we're gonna do the same thing here. Hold on. I am not left-handed. Okay, there we go. Get a good amount there, right to the tip. There you are. Okay, and that's hooked up. Now, what we're gonna do is reposition this so y'all can see. We're gonna kind of tuck that under like that, and I'm gonna put that right to the side of that pot as soon as I get this in a better position. Hold on 1 second. Okay, hold on. Hold that to it. Okay, Case. There we go. Okay. And there we go. We got all of our pots getting soldered together. 1, 2, 3. So now that's all grounded. Like I say, the switch is well grounded by this sheet right here. So I'm not going to bother running because there really isn't a tab for a ground. And a lot of times if you want a ground, you can lift up loosen one of the screws, tuck it underneath, and squish it down. But there, like I said, there really is no need for that. Okay, so this end of this wire, I'm going to cut off about this long for now, and it's going to run out to our jack. Now I got to run a hot wire, which is basically going to go from this center leg of this pot here along with this wire out to the jack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this wire about the same in length. I'm going to cut it a little, maybe just a tad longer, like that. Okay, just in case. So I'm going to strip this down like so, and I'm going to strip this other end too, so I don't have to do it later. Like that. So I'm going to run this wire to the center lug of our volume pot. I'm going to get that in, and I'm going to pull it back just a little bit so I can pull it over and get a nice little loop, just like that, just so when it solders it'll bite nice and good. Okay, I'm going to pull that back like that. Just kind of tuck that there so I get a little tension. All right, take my solder, clean my tip, And we're going to go in. We're going to hit that up. Inspect it real quick. And there we go. Got a good solder joint. That's it up. I'm going to take this and cut off whatever excess wire might be hanging out. Like so. And there you go. Ouch. Nice and clean. Don't touch your hot solder joints, kids. Not the right way to do it. And for grounding, a lot of times what I like to do is kind of make a shield with the ground wire to the hot wire before you go to the jack. So I'll twist these up kind of together like this. And basically what it's like having a shielded wire, pretty much, but you know, without dealing with the, you know, double jacketed, you know, 2-conductor wire. Fender never used it, and I'm not using it, so at least not in this application. So anyways, we're going to twist these like that, and for now that's what we're going to do, just like that. Tuck this off to the side, and now I'm going to go get the guitar, and we're going to drop the scratch guard in the guitar, and we're going to wire these 2 wires to the jack, put the jack in, and basically our install's done, and then we'll go inside and test it. Anyways, I'll be right back with the guitar, and we're going to wire this all in. Okay, the scratch guard is all wired, everything's been buttoned up neatly, and now it's time to drop it into the guitar. First things first, I did wire the bridge ground right here. We wired it to the side of the pot. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these wires through to pull it out the jack side. Okay, see if you'd hold the scratch guard for this. Okay, hold on. Yep. Give you a little case. Pull the scratch guard up just a bit.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. And there's our wires going to our jack, coming through the scratch guard. We're going to kind of put these down like this, tuck everything away. If I need more wire, I can always pull on it, but anyways, it looks pretty good. Make sure we're getting down in the middle of the scratch guard. Ouch, that would have been bad. Anyways, let me check this out real quick. Make sure we're getting where we want to get. Okay, that goes in that channel, that goes in that channel. Basically, everything's in its proper channel. Okay. Right, I'll be right back once I get this thing seated, and we're going to come back and wire the jack. Okay, we're back. We got our wires pulled through, we got our scratch plate mounted, and what we're going to do is we're going to wire up our jack. First thing is we're going to wire our ground wire, which is the black wire, to the sleeve, which is your center portion of part of the jack. And there's the lug for it. It goes right to the center. So that is always your ground. We're going to come through, and I'm going to have Casey hold this for me, and I'm going to solder this up, and we'll get this ground done. Go, buddy. Clean off this tip. If you want to just lift up a little bit, oops, nope, lift up on this end, your finger end, more toward up in the sky. Okay. Okay. Okay, that is our ground. I'm going to cut off the excess. And now we're going to do our hot wire, which is going to go to this here, which is the tip. It goes to the tip of the jack when you plug it in. So this is tip side, goes to that blade. So let's put that in there like so. Push that down, Casey, if you would hold this. We're going to get this in real quick. Okay, and there we go. And that wraps up wiring in your scratch guard. So that is a complete how to wire a Strat. Anyways, I'm going to put this in, and we're going to go inside, and we're going to plug it in, and we're going to test all the functions and make sure it functions as it should. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, we're inside, we're all done. The wiring is all complete. The guitar's put together. We threw some strings on there. We're going to go test the pickups and test the positions of the switches and the tones right now. So we're going to roll up our volume, and here's our neck position, all the way up, position 1. There's our neck, and we're going to check our neck tone. Here's our neck tone rolled off. Here's our neck tone rolled up. Now we're going to go our out of phase position, which is our neck and middle. Working just as it should. Now middle only. I'm going to check our middle tone. And there you go. Now we're going to go out of phase, bridge and middle. As it should. And now we're going to go bridge pickup. As it should. And there you go. Everything's working just as it should. And phase. And there you have it. All done. And that's what you need to know to wire a Strat the right way. Anyways, I want to wrap up the video on that. Take off my glasses and say happy 4th of July to everybody. It actually is July 4th today, but the video will probably be posted on July 5th. But yeah, this is how you do it. We had a great time doing it. And like I say, just keep experimenting, keep wiring, keep trying, and keep your wiring neat and clean. That's the main thing. Don't solder abuse. Anyways, that'll be it for today. Thank you all so much. Please like and subscribe to my channel and like the video, and we'll see you next time. Got some really cool stuff coming up. We got a great video coming up next week, so stay tuned. Thank you, and have a great 4th of July.